Right. So all the resources I'm talking about this week, including the news, I've referenced in the hub. Um, we've got a bit of fun, we've got a bit of serious stuff, and like I say, we've got the spotlight. Any questions you might have, as ever, paste them into the green area here, or if you just if it's an appropriate moment, just say that's perfectly okay as well. That's a bit of fun that we're going to go into later. That's a really good song that somebody's made on Udio. And right, okay, spotlight first of all. So what I wanted to show you guys is this application called Recast. It's linked here in the hub. And if we go here, what this does is you can turn, I don't know about you, but I tend to, by the way, this isn't my usual sort of browser window with all these very neatly sort of arranged tabs. I'm one of those people that's got like thousands of tabs. I'm a tab boarder. And even though I try and group them, I still end up with loads of tabs. And I usually have loads of tabs because I'm like, oh, that looks like a really interesting article. I'll see if I can find time to read it. Right. And I never do. I never, ever do. Sometimes I do. If it's like really interesting, then I will. But most of the time it just gets left and it just sort of atrophies in my tab collection. So what the guys at Recast have obviously sort of realized this is an issue. And what it does is you can use their application to turn your articles into essentially podcasts, right? Now, I listen to podcasts all the time. I listen to them in the car. I listen to them when I'm running. And it's one of the main ways, actually, that I keep up to date, especially with developments in AI. So when I see an article now and I'm thinking, do you know what? I haven't got time to read it. Let's say, hold on a second. Let me just quickly find something that we might think is useful. Bear with. So let's say, right, I've got a link here. Okay, this is from Quartz magazine, and it's about Elon Musk's dystopian AI future. There we go. Fewer jobs, more money, but no purpose in life. So, I respect Elon Musk. I think he's got some good ideas. I might actually be quite interested in what he has to say about that. And what I can do is I can go up here so that you get a browser extension, and I just say recast it. And if I've got it, if I'm looking at this on my phone, by the way, then if you're an iPhone user, I assume they have an Android extension as well. But I can go onto the browser on my phone, and then I can sort of like do the share to, and it'll share it to the app. And then it basically says, yeah, okay, I'm going to make a podcast of this. Okay. And then basically I get an email. So like two things happen. I get an email, but it also, because I'm a paid up subscriber now, I also get it pops it into like an RSS feed, which I can subscribe to on my podcast application. So I come in here and I log in. We should be able to see that on my up next. No, not quite. Oh, there we go. Processing one. Right. It's still processing the one that I just sent. You can see here it failed on this one, which is a link I had to a report in an S3 bucket. Didn't want to do that. I thought it was a bit too dodgy. So that's why that one's failed. But hopefully we'll see the Elon Musk one appear in here in a moment. And then that will automatically then appear in my podcast application on my just the standard Apple one. It'll automatically appear in my podcast application on my phone. And the next time I'm in the car, play my podcast, it just starts playing. And it's absolutely amazing. It's sort of, maybe I could play, hold on a second. Let me make sure that my Zoom sharing settings are such that you can hear my audio. Hold on a sec. Share sound. Okay. So here we go. Factors slowing down Gen AI adoption, but they don't just have somebody narrate the article. They kind of make two people and they kind of bounce off each other, kind of like newscasters. So have a
This
listen
is
to
a
this.
recast of the 700-word
You can hear that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
Factors slowing down Gen AI adoption from Forbes. Let's listen in.
The article delves into the adoption of generative AI by companies. While the rollout of Gen AI has kickstarted conversations about its potential benefits, the process of its adoption has become complicated and slow due to the involvement of multiple stakeholders.
It points out how Gen AI doesn't necessarily overhaul a company's tech stack. Instead, it acts as a feature or product extension to existing systems.
Do you see? So they kind of have two people, so to speak, kind of alternating. And I think it works quite well, because I think if they just had one person reading even a summary of it or a a rehash of it, I think it would just get a bit boring. So the kind of the interleaving of the different voices works quite well. But that's amazing, because I can very quickly get an idea of what an article was about. If I want to, obviously I can go back and read it in full. But I think that's really going to help, and it already is actually, just getting additional color and things like that to my understanding of what's going on within the AI world. So
can you ask questions of it, or does it just summarize it?
That's a really good question. Let's have a look.
I'm just thinking what would be really cool is if you can ask questions, and even if it's not in the article, it can then find other articles related to it that might be of interest.
I am not seeing that, but I'll certainly ask the question. I'm a paid up member now, so I am well and truly on board with this. I can't see it, but I'd be amazed if they didn't build that in, because you're right, that feels like a shoe-in, doesn't it? Like, you can ask it for additional sort of clarification. What they do have, though, they have trending recasts, as you can see here. One of which is behind the scenes of Scarlett Johansson's battle with OpenAI. We'll cover that in news next. But there's a lot of stuff here that other people have obviously recasted, and you can just choose theirs, which I quite like as well. So you can add that to my kind of playlist, which will then make its way into my podcast app. Oh, there we go. Look, here's the Elon Musk one that I set going just now. Elon Musk expressed his vision for the future as Viva Technology Conference. According to him, in a benign scenario, no one will have jobs due to AI and automation. Okay. However, he suggests that instead of universal basic income, there'll be universal high income. Right, rocking. Okay. Well, let's hope for that. But yeah, I know. I said I respected him. No, I do. He's done a lot of good stuff, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? But I appreciate he's not for everybody. But I think that's amazing, and just the fact that I can be on my phone as well, and like going through my newsfeed, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Now, what I'd really like to see, is the ability. And actually, I've not checked this. I'm going to check it now while we're here, to see whether or not they have an integration for Zapier. Because if they do, then I'm likely to do something like, here's a page I like, put it in. Have you heard of Pocket? There's an application called Pocket. It's been around for a while. It's kind of like an online bookmark sort of thing. If I pocket something, then I'd like it to create a podcast of it, if that makes sense. Let me just see. Recast. No, apparently not. Oh well. I'll have to press the developers for a Zapier automation. But I think that would be really cool. But in that case, and especially if they did things like, when a recast is made, it gives you the transcription, then it would be pretty easy to implement what you were suggesting there, which is, ask questions about it. You could create a document of it and then add that into a GPT or into a Get Cody bot or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So, and also number one on product of the day on Product Hunt. So yes, as if more of an endorsement were needed, in addition to mine. That is linked in the hub. So if you want to sign up for a free account, they do a free trial. It only took me a couple of goes for me to realize, what, this has definitely got value. So I did that, but they will give you a free trial. So yeah, you can get to it via the hub. It's Recast. If you all the resources that I'm talking about, by the way, if you just search for DevClub 46, no space, it will all come up first, along with a bunch of other more pictures of my face and other people's faces and stuff like that, which you may not want. But the stuff you want will be at the top. So I think that's the main thing.